I guess I'm going to start right directly. So I think I don't really have a lot of slides. I just want to only show you the demo and the kind of things that I did. I don't want to, take a lot of time just talking about the, ChatGPT, because ChatGPT is something that you have to try out by yourself. It's not something that someone can tell you, in my view at least. So, but I'm just going to highlight like what I'm going to talk today. So first, I'm going to give you the introduction of ChatGPT, as you probably know, but I'm trying to give you a different kind of perspective, like, developer mind, creator, content creator, or typical internet users. Then I can talk about the ChatGPT capabilities across different subjects and topics in industry. Like, for example, how ChatGPT is going to help for development, how ChatGPT is going to help for marketing, content, or different kind of subjects we'll see. And finally, I'll talk about my work, like how I'm a developer. So I just want to talk about how I use ChatGPT, kind of 12 hours a day. How I automate my work, how I reduce my works. This is purely based on my work. And finally, I'm just going to talk about like what's going to happen in the future if you go like this one. If it's one, then probably I'll take the question and answers if you have any. So I think you already know ChatGPT very much. It's a kind of AI model that understands, your language. All you have to do is give the input text. You can get the, data. So, from developer perspective, ChatGPT is like more like, a model that understands the world based on the data that we have in the world on internet. So it from developer perspective, it also understands the code, it understands the the patterns in the code, it understands the libraries, it understands different kind of stuff in the code. So as a developer, you can use the ChatGPT just basically to create a kind of a code, or even debug the code, or even like generate the different kind of code that is not part of that is not available on internet, but ChatGPT can kind of generate that kind of question as well. So that is like, these are the same question I asked here. Can you explain ChatGPT to a developer in 50 words? This is what it came up with. So it basically tells that you can build algorithms, you can build chatbots, virtual assistant, I think if you're a developer, you probably understand it very well. So I'm just going to skip it. So then if you're a content creator, for example, you want to create a content for, social media, like posts or even tweets or LinkedIn posts, whatever posts you want to create. So obviously we struggle to, kind of create, for example, if I have to explain something, it's very hard for me as a human being to, use the words that are very catchy, that sound really amazing. But with ChatGPT, you can probably, solve that kind of thing. Like if you're a content creator or you want to post something, you obviously can use ChatGPT to get the content that is very catchy, that is very sensitive, probably good, better than what humans can come up with, in my view. So yeah, it includes blogs, social media, articles, you name it, whatever is available on internet, you can do it. So if you're an internet user, typically, basically, like whenever you want to know something, the first place we go to is internet, right? Mostly Google at this time. If you're an internet user, like you want to, know something on internet. So we used to go to Google, but now that shift is kind of slowly, kind of moving to ChatGPT, because ChatGPT is a model that understands the world. It can give you the answer in the way that you want it, not in the way that you kind of search it. So Google is mostly like a search. You will find, different kind of stuff. But ChatGPT is more like you search, you filter, you find, then you customize it. So it's all in one place. So if you're an internet user, you probably want to, try ChatGPT for your internet searches, anything like it's available. So if I have to sum it up, what ChatGPT is, it's basically AI model trained on the entire internet text data. So whatever is available on internet text, it's basically trained on that. It can understand the language. It can generate human-like responses. So when I say human-like responses, typically like, it uses the words like, I'm sorry, this is it, that is. It's not going to just give you the answer directly. So that's what they call it, human-like responses. And it can answer even complicated questions also. It can even deep dive into them. And finally, it can generate the code, spot errors in the code, any language, whether a programming language or machine learning language, or frameworks and libraries and whatever stuff. And you can also do the follow-ups. Like, for example, if you ask a question and you want a follow-up on that question, you can get that in ChatGPT. If you use Google or any kind of things, it's very difficult for you to find the answer. And it also trains based on your inputs. So, and the final thing is, it's you can't really, you don't want to enter any information that is very kind of confidential, and also, of course, it's not trained to give any swear words and bad words. It's mostly positive, like whatever you say, it's going to reply you politely and nicely. So that's my summarization, I guess. I think ChatGPT can do better, but this is what I understood. So I'm directly gonna show you the demo only directly. So I think, so here are the questions that I asked. If just a second, okay. So here are the questions I asked, like basically all of the questions are kind of like a different questions you can see. So I'm just gonna go to the ChatGPT, let's say. All right, so I already asked these questions to save the time. So I'm just gonna walk you through the questions and understand, how the answer is coming up and what kind of answer it's giving it. So basically the first question is asked like, write me a script of two people having interesting date. I hope you can see my screen. If not, then I'll probably zoom it out like this.
We can't. We see the slides, I think now.
You can see, right? Or you can't?
We can just see the fixed slide. If you are on ChatGPT, we don't see it.
Yes, I'm on ChatGPT, but maybe I think I should.
We don't see. Yeah, probably. Or you just, yeah. Now maybe yes.
Okay. Can you see mine?
Yeah.
You can see ChatGPT, right?
No.
Still no. I think the permission probably just a second. Stop the sharing and probably share screen. Enter screen. Yeah, now you can see, I guess. Yes, can you see now?
Yeah.
And the text
yes.
font okay? Font okay, or can I reduce the font like
it's
this?
Perfect. I think it's fine. Yeah, it's good.
So yeah, as you can see, like the first question I asked, like write me a script of two people having an interesting date conversation. A typical, like a kind of a movie scene. So it comes up with a kind of a scene at a cozy restaurant, whatever, Jack and Lucy, Jack sentences are like this. So basically it understands that there are two people, the user wants a script and user wants a kind of like a date conversation, and user wanted to make it interesting. So these are high level patterns that the ChatGPT takes from this text, and it kind of construct the kind of different kind of things. You can see it like hey, Lucy, I'm really glad we could finally meet in person. All of the polite stuff, I guess. Probably we don't talk in the same way when we meet, but generally this is how a movie script or any kind of things that we see on the internet. So that's what it gave. It gave all of this stuff like two conversations. So that's one of the questions. Basically, it can understand. It can give you the kind of a conversational level, answers. So that's the first step. That's the first question, probably one type of question. The second one I ask, like, I want a regular expression in Python validating, the LinkedIn profile URL. So this is a code question, obviously. So right now I just answered only the simple one, which is very easy. But you can even ask complicated questions like, give me a neural network of, give me a convolutional neural network with 10 layers with these are filters. It can even give you that house. So you can get like different kind of questions, but right now I just only ask like very simple question to make you understand. So obviously it gives the LinkedIn pattern and you can see it. So basically it can generate the question, it can understand what regular expression is, what Python is, what LinkedIn means basically. So it can even construct what LinkedIn is, and it basically gave the response. So that's one type of question. So first you can get the chat like conversations. The second one, it can understand the code. You can get the code from it, any code. Right now it's Python, but you can try any language, it's fine. The third question I asked is Elon Musk a good person? So again, this is obviously as a human being, it's very difficult to say the same answer you get from the ChatGPT as well. So it doesn't understand. It understands the question, is Elon Musk a good person? It understands it, but it doesn't give you a response because the question is very subjective. So the answer, of course, like gives in a way politely say that, hey, a good person is subjective, it's not like this. From internet, Elon Musk is a well-known entrepreneur, inventor, all of the stuff, whatever we find about Elon Musk, we get it. But it doesn't really generalize it. It's a good person. No, it's not a good person. It's not a bad person. It doesn't really generalize it. That means it understands that human beings really don't want to generalize that kind of stuff. So that's cool anyway. So that is one kind of question. The other question is, write me a Twitter thread explaining the benefits of ChatGPTs for developers. Again, it gives you Twitter thread. It understands what Twitter actually wants it. Even like sentences, like based on the Twitter limits, I guess. So you can get all this. Similarly, you can ask, give me a LinkedIn post. Give me a I don't know, like whatever you can post on internet, you can pretty much carry it. So, and the other type of question I ask, like, hey, what is the correct answer for this MCQ? Basically, I gave this, I give a question, I gave 4 options. Hey, give me the right answer. So the question is simple, like, what is the formula for simple linear regression? So if I have to tell you, that is the first one, a plus bx, mx plus b, mx plus c, I guess. So yeah, it understands that, hey, this is the correct answer, a is the correct answer, and it also gives you the, explanation why a is correct. It says that y is an independent variable, x is an independent variable. So this is kind of like a machine learning stuff, and it understands that. It also tells that why option B and C, D are like not good because of so and so reasons and stuff. So you can throw out a question, or you can throw out a piece of code as well. You can ask, hey, give me the error in this code. So any code, it understands it pretty much. So I think that's what I did next. So I said, debug this code and tell me what's wrong. Tell me why it's not working. So I gave a bunch of React Native code. It is basically React Native, it's a mobile code basically. So without even any headers, just plain code. So I didn't even mention it like it's a React Native. I didn't mention JavaScript, nothing. I just say that, hey, debug this code and tell me it's not working. Why it's not working, but it understands that. So if you're not a React Native developer, the mistake is basically, this is the mistake. And that's what exactly I got it. So it understands that, hey, there is a mistake in this line. That is the reason you can get this. And also it can identify other mistakes as well, which I couldn't really see it, but those turn to be not a mistakes, but kind of like a extra points to consider. And it also gives the right code for this. So yeah, that's pretty cool, because I didn't mention React Native. I didn't mention any kind of thing. I gave half code, not fully code, but I gave on purpose like a wrong code to just see like how this is going to react it, and you got it. So basically that's what sums up, like if I have to summarize everything. As a developer, you can write the code. You can write the code along with ChatGPT. You can build the applications along with ChatGPT, and also you can kind of create content for social media or internet or anywhere you can possible. And third is, if you have any interesting problem or puzzle that you want to solve, you don't want to typically we don't go to Google to solve that kind of puzzle, right? We go to forums or any specific groups, right? So now you can typically just go through this. Okay, you can just directly give the code or puzzle or whatever. It can understand the patterns in the puzzle. It can probably give you the answer. So these, I think 4 or 5 questions probably sum it up, like different way to interact with ChatGPT. But again, these are very limited. Obviously, with our time, we have to limit ourselves to make this presentation. But as I said, like you can even give a lot of questions, a lot of like a different ways to question. Like for example, you can even play with the AI. For example, like chess, you can play with ChatGPT. It kind of fails it at this time, but it improves over a period of time. So these are the positive things about ChatGPT. We'll go to the negative stuff as well. So if you can see my screen, just a second. So there are a couple of kind of questions ChatGPT fails. I'm just going to show you this. So this is the repository. If you can go ChatGPT failures. So it contains, I think people are trying like different questions, and once they find there's a mistake or something, then they post here. So there are a couple of, for example, simple ones it fails. Let me show it to you. Yeah, there is this one, which is pretty much. So user asked, what is 1 plus 1? So it gave like 2. Then the user asked, are you sure? Isn't it 3? Then the ChatGPT says, oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's 3. So basically, it is failure. But if you try the same question right now, you won't get this answer. Because what happens is it learns from its mistakes. Initially, the ChatGPT makes a mistake, but the data goes back to the engine. Then again, it corrects it. But these are the high level mistakes we have so far. So it fails at like kind of understanding follow-ups basically. Like it can give you the 1 plus 1 equals 2. That's right. But if you ask, hey, it's not right, then it understands. Okay, humans are right. So now if you try the same question right now, you won't get the same answer. No matter whatever you say, you're wrong. It still says that, okay, I'm not wrong. Of course, it says politely, but you know what I mean? Like, and also there, it fails at a couple of other questions as well. Let me show another interesting one, which is the age question. So there was a question like, a user asked like, when I was 6, my sister was half my age. Now I'm 70. How old is my sister? So if I have to explain the answer. So if you're 6, your sister is half, that means 3. So there's a 3 difference, and your answer should be like 67. But here it understands everything, but like last it gives like it's wrong, 73. But now if you ask the same question right now, you won't get the same answer because it learns from it. So you may probably have different answer or maybe different mistake, but it's not going to be the same mistake that you get right here. So yeah, go through this repository. You can see like a bunch of where exactly ChatGPT failures. But if you try it again, you won't probably get it. So the way it works is it understands the context, it understands the question, but if you give a follow-up with your strong confidence that it's not working, it's right, you're wrong, then it starts to think to itself like, okay, maybe I made a mistake. So without even relying that users are wrong or humans are trying to make it fun, because it doesn't know, it's just a piece of code. So, but as as more and more wrong answers coming, as more and more people are using it, obviously that becomes that data is going to be fed back to model. It's going to train again, it's going to retrain again and again until it gets the it reaches the optimal point to answer most of the questions. So I think that's pretty much it, like from myself. Let me just go back to share that screen. So I'm just going to go with the ChatGPT here only. Like I'm just going to show you how I'm writing the code and stuff. So first, I'm just going to give you a little bit of introduction of mine here, I guess, because that helps really well. So I'm a software engineer. I've been building applications like front end, back end, AI for last 5 years, I guess. So obviously, initially I started as a front end. Now after that, I'm back end, then AI and stuff like that. So I understand that pretty much, like how coding works, how applications work, how where the developer time is spent, where the most of the pain points come from. I pretty much understand that what's going to be the future of a development. But after understanding ChatGPT, after last few months, it changes my thinking. It changes my way to write the code, think in code. Now I think in AI. Everything I want to do, I think in AI first. Hey, can AI solve this one? Then if AI can solve it, all I need to do is find the kind of model or find a service or something that can provide me AI, that can provide me whatever I wanted, instead of me going to Google or me going to somebody who is really good at that skill. So right now I got the confidence I can build anything on internet, any code, anything, whether it's a simple machine learning model or even a complicated kind of architectural stuff. So if you can see it, I've been using ChatGPT for a while, I guess. I think since it started. So I asked like a lot of questions. So I can probably show a few things that I find like very interesting. I couldn't do it without ChatGPT, or maybe I would have spent a lot of time trying it, debugging it to do it. So let me just see where that is. Or this one, I guess. Yeah, this one, I guess. Yeah. So for the last, I think 1 month, I've been building a mobile application for my startup, where basically, the mobile application is it's an tech platform. So I'm building kind of a Netflix kind of a application. So I want videos to be, encrypted. I want I want to have more security in the app and more performance also, because videos take a lot of speed and stuff. So I have very limited idea in that space, like encrypting a video or kind of like creating that kind of applications. So I've done basic applications in mobile, like playing games, or even like normal DB operation applications. But this is the first time that I'm trying to do that video kind of applications. This is how it helped ChatGPT. So if I have to do this kind of a thing without ChatGPT, or probably what I have to do is I have to go to Google and type everything, go to every kind of like chat or form, anything, I have to do it. But here simply it just give me the code. So initially I asked, okay, I just want to have a piece of code where I can play the video. So basically that's it. So it's very easy. So that gave me the code. And also I want that code to be encrypted and decrypt. So because I don't want that video or whatever the content that I publish to be easily available or to be easily fetched by anybody. So I wanted to have some kind of encryption and decryption. So obviously it gave me to understand that, I got the code, it started working. Then I asked for have a backend system written in Django. So I want to, encrypt, decrypt in the Django one, not in the front end one, like React and mobile application. So it understands that I got the code and it's working fine. So and so on, like I spent a lot of time, kind of I got an error, for example, I got this error. Again, if I have to Google this error even right now, so it's gonna give me again, it's gonna give me a lot of things. I have to go to Stack Overflow probably. So this is typically I do it like without ChatGPT. I go to here maybe, and I kind of see what people are talking about. Then I try a bunch of time. This is typically how a user spends time. But here, to cut it down, I got it. It understands, because of so and so, you need to install this. You go here, you have to link, depends. So just step-by-step guide, basically. So I did everything. It seems like, yeah, it's working, but I want even more on that. So if you observe this, everything is based on one content, which is playing video on React Native. So it's almost like I'm talking to somebody who's helping me basically to understand and to basically build these applications. So everywhere I just ask simple one, like, encrypt, decrypt React Native. Then I say like, you got this error. So again, I did not mention where I got this error, where it's coming from. It understands that because this error because of so and so reason. So I'm kind of like following up with it. So then again, after that feature is gone, then I want to have external features for my code. So I ask like, hey, give me the code for that, and it understands that. And also I ask like a different, very specific questions like, I want like a button. I want to play, pause video when a button clicks. So how do I do that? So again, this question is related to this component. Basically, if you don't know React Native, it's fine. It's basically a package. So it understands the package, it goes to the package, it gives the code. If I do it without ChatGPT, then typically what I do is I have to go to this package code, which is the GitHub, most probably in NPM. Yeah, I think I've already gone through it just to test it. So I basically go to this package and I kind of read all this stuff. And I try to understand. Even after that, also, they don't really tell you the code. They give you basic code. For example, if I want to do something in this option, I can't do it because it's really difficult to, at least in React Native. But ChatGPT can pretty much do it because it understands the library itself inside also. So it can give me the answer inside this library as well. So that's what I got here. And yeah, same thing. I've been following up with that. So I sometimes it's working on iOS, but it's not working on Android. So I have to, again, ask like, why is it not working on Android? Then it says so and so. Again, so you can see that I've been following. It's a big chat, basically. You can see a lot of chat. I spent probably, I think, 1 hour or something like that. Maybe more than that, I guess. Again, there was a time I didn't get anything. You can see it. Still getting the same error. I said it is the full code. I pasted the entire full code. Then it understands it seems like you have it understands the every line of code, I guess. It spot the error, I guess, or maybe it's not. Still same error, you see. So basically, I'm kind of having a conversation with it. After spending, I think, an hour, 1.5 hours, something like that, I got pretty much done. So sometimes it's not working on Androids, and again I have to go back and see everything. So finally I made it through, and this is just one chat. You can see many other chats as well in React Native. These are the recent ones. So not only React Native, so this is front end. Of course, I use it for backend for Django. I use it for machine learning for like a model or a syntax. I've been kind of asking follow-ups on that. This is how I've been basically building for my development at my startup, basically. And this is for only as a developer. Now, as a content creator, of course, I have a lot of content. For example, let's say there was one chat where I for example, here I just asked like, I want to have metrics to capture the people MCQ, quizzes. So it can give me a bunch of things we can capture. And similarly, where I can ask, give me MCQ questions of machine learning algorithm, like Boolean regression or whatever stuff. It gave me all the like, number of questions I asked, like, 10, it gave me 10. And also I asked like, give me another 10 questions on a different topic, you get it. So basically it can give me the, not code is one part, the content is second. So basically these two things are required for me to build my mobile applications for, my startup. So I think for the last 20 days, I've been using pretty much that only. So, everything, if I want something, I mean, any place, like if I'm stuck at the first place, I go to this ChatGPT, not Google. I think I completely changed it because after spending a lot of time here, after, kind of understanding, everything, like how it works, where it fails, I think it became a tool for me. I strongly recommend any developers or, anybody basically, like, who's spending a lot of time on Google, kind of searching here and there, they can simply come here and just explore it. That's all I can say. Yeah, so I think that's pretty much interesting. And I can also tell you the failures or the problems that I faced using ChatGPT. The problems is, one of the problem is, this is trained up to, I think, 2021 data, I guess. It's not up to date. For example, if I want to have a package, an NPM package, if that is recently updated, then obviously ChatGPT doesn't know that it's updated. So obviously it gives me the code, which was earlier version, which is pretty bad. But what happens interestingly is, like, if I ask a follow-up question like, hey, I think this code is not working, so can you, then it can go back and correct that, yeah, that code has been, kind of wrong, I'm sorry, it is the new code. Even new code also doesn't work, but it understands at least, like, the old code, doesn't work. So that's probably one of the problems I see it as a developer. Usually as a development, you want your libraries, your packages, all, all the, to be up to date. So if ChatGPT is only trained up to 2021, a certain time of data, then obviously we miss entire thing, what's going to happen after, after that period. But I think for that, I think they're already kind of training it with Bing. I guess they're going to even do much well, I guess, not only the past one, even the previous, current one. I hope that it gets updated. But as you know, that the ChatGPT is just a kind of like a prototype, even though it has the potential to be big. So we know that there's ChatGPT 2 comes, 3 comes, 4 comes, based on the, based on, as we go forward in the future. So in my view, I think this is me being a developer or machine learning engineer for the last 5 years. I understand this is kind of a big breakthrough, not because of the media hype and stuff. It's literally improving, it's reducing my time. My time means I'm one of the, millions of people. It's reducing millions of people time. So when you have less time in there, when you have like less time spent, obviously more productivity. So that means all the millions of developers can spend less time. So the productivity improves. So whenever there's a productivity improve, obviously the economy, the society grows faster because we can do a lot of stuff. That's one. And the second one is, like, it also boosts the, creativity side. So right now anyone can come, can create a content. They don't have to worry about, they have to have some kind of degree or knowledge or anything like that. All they have to know is how to use the tools. So in that case, anyone can become anything in very short amount of time. That's probably the another reason for me to be very optimistic in this space, I guess. So in my view, I think, yeah, this is really changing the way that developers kind of code, the way the content creators create content, the way that basically it's entered, information is in your pocket, basically, like in your phone or in a web, mobile. So yeah, kudos to them. I hope to see even more updates on that. So I would definitely like to help anybody who's just getting started, either development. I basically tell how to use ChatGPT, at least in my view. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it for myself. So I'd like to take questions if you guys have any. Otherwise, yeah, just check it out, guys. That's very nice.
Thanks a lot, Madhu. Yeah, if there's questions, feel free to write it on the chat or just open the camera and do it. Do you have any questions, guys?
I have a couple of remarks, actually. These I obviously like to, I'm a bit of a party pooper in this sense. But the first thing is, like, I played around a lot with ChatGPT, and regarding the subjective questions, sometimes it's a bit troubling. For instance, like when you ask things like, I asked it, I'll create a table for me with trust scores for countries. So it really kind of generated the worst stereotypes of every country, obviously, like Finland had the highest and other countries.
Right.
So, and it of course had a little disclaimer saying, yeah, but these are fictitious scores, but okay, but you gave me this data. So if you're like trying to, some people might even generate data from it. So, and then how are you going to test if it's good? That's a good, difficult question. And also for future, this is a difficult question also. I don't know if you've heard about the class action against Copilot of GitHub, about the fact that there was the fact that they were like training on the software code. So and also with the new generative AI models, they are now giving the Stable Diffusion is giving the option for artists to opt out. So how do you see this in the future? So if the data is not updated, obviously it won't be useful. So if more and more people are going to restrict their information to tools like ChatGPT, how is it going to evolve? And of course, the other difficult question is, it's very English centered, you know, it's been trained mostly on the English language. Other languages, it is supported for other languages, but like in terms of inclusivity, the rest of the world might not use it. So these are obviously, I'm the ethicist over here, so I'm kind of throwing
definitely.
out.
I mean, so I mean, if you understand the question itself contains answer in my view. The question is basically, why would anyone ban ChatGPT answer? So first of all, they ban it because of like, if it's a reputation, right? If Stack Overflow, if somebody can give you an answer on Stack Overflow, which is generated from ChatGPT, if the answer is bad, the Stack Overflow reputation is gone. I mean, at least people spend less time on Stack Overflow because it gives me somebody gave me wrong answer, which is coming from ChatGPT. Because if ChatGPT can tell you that, okay, I can give you the answer that's probably right at X amount of time with the confidence score on every question, basically, then it makes sense. Otherwise, obviously, any company like GitHub, Stack Overflow, any Quora, any kind of companies, they worry about ChatGPTs because their reputation is on the line. So that's probably one of the reasons. The second one is, right now, I think we really don't know that how it's kind of like walking under hood, because there is no paper like for ChatGPT. So there is no information about how the ChatGPT is being trained on. So that's probably the other reason.
They call themselves OpenAI in the beginning, and then
I mean, but obviously they will do it in the future, I guess. If that information is public, let's say if I see the paper, then I can pretty much understand whether it gives right or wrong. I mean, I can get some trust factor. So right now, I think it's maybe because of these two reasons. I think people are kind of backing it out a bit at different areas. But ultimately, this is just a prototype in my view. This is a small box. There's going to be big because once the paper is out or once the training is done, once we have more clarity on how these models actually being trained and tested and getting things done, then probably we'll have more clarity. Then I think in my view, GitHub and Stack Overflow are the first people are going to come out. Hey, I want to use that.
No, actually, my point was that they are trained on existing data. So basically, what I was trying to say is that Copilot also helps writing code, but it's trained on also existing code, and there is accusations that they haven't respected the licenses while training the data. So in future, it's possible that people might stop providing ChatGPT as an input, and also like Stable Diffusion is opting out. So I'm curious to see how it's going to evolve when people are going to say, hey, you're not going to use my hard-earned code to train your model, so kind of thing. So that's kind of the interesting.
In my view, code is open source, so it's not like somebody says that don't use my code. That is, in my view, I consider that.
No, it's about licenses. Even with codes, you have MIT Apache, but they have restrictions for if it's for commercial, you might not use it. You might have to use.
Of course.
So it's like if they are a commercial company, then if they're using it, then that's the
I mean, definitely. I mean, of course, in an economy, everyone is going to give anything for free. Obviously, there's some factors, but ultimately, if there is a net positive on economy, if net positive on productivity, I'm pretty sure things will figure out itself. Maybe it's going to take some time, but overall.